little bit left in inflation, and then after we'll come back to this. We'll start with this new topic of quantity theory of money, right? Yes, what happened to your video?
1 minute, ma'am. I will.
Okay. So if you don't attend the classes, you will not get back these classes, right? We're not going to explain all these things in classroom. You will miss out on all these things. You should not miss out, right? First of all, it was difficult for you all. You couldn't clear that, right? So you are supposed to sit back and study well, right? I think the online class is going on more better than the offline. Here, everything I can share all these PDF.
Alvi guys, not etkala. Teacher ಅವರು
You can mute your audio. Okay. So let's look at this types of inflation. Just have a glance over it on the basis of causes. So we have classified this inflation, right, on the basis of cause. It was currency inflation. Then the second one was credit inflation, deficit induced inflation. Fourth one, demand pull. Right? You were there in this class when I explained this demand pull?
No, ma'am.
No. See, you missed all these things, important things. Anyways, you'll have to now prepare this on your own. Demand pull. It is simple. I can just give you a crux of it. It is that
Okay.
the if the demand increases, then the prices will also increase in the market, right? This is simple thing I've been telling. How
Ma'am.
the increase in demand will lead to increase in prices, and this is how it leads to inflation problem. So this is what we study in demand pull inflation. Here you have this flow chart. You can see this income, demand, and yeah, this graph you need to study. This range 3 will tell you that how this range 3 you experience this inflation problem in this range, because you see that the output is not increasing here. Output is constant, right? It is only at one place, yf point. But
Ma'am, I can't see, ma'am. You
you,
haven't shared screen.
I haven't shared. Oh, I'm so sorry. You should have told me. Oh god. And I've been explaining. Is it shared now?
Yeah, ma'am.
Is it visible? Oh, shit. Okay. So in this, now you can see, right?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, so here you can see in this range 3, we experience this problem of inflation. It is because you can see in range 3, the output is same, right? There is this vertical line, and you can see the output is only at YF, right? It does not increase with the price increases. So output is same, but the demand, if the demand increases, then the prices will increase, and therefore it leads to the problem of inflation. Then we discussed about cost push inflation. It is like under this. I think you were there in this class, last class only we did, or you
Yeah,
missed
ma'am.
this also. So
No,
here
ma'am.
it
Last
is.
class I was there.
You were there, right? So tell me, what is cost push? You remember?
Yeah, ma'am.
What is it?
It is raise in the overall increase in the overall cost of production.
Right. The cost of production, if it increases, then the prices will increase, and this will lead to inflation problem, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
So again, here also you have a chart. Then we saw the classification on the basis of speed. We saw how it is like these three types: creeping, walking, and galloping, right? So creeping is the slowest movement, then walking is medium movement, and the galloping is hyperinflation or high running movement, right? Then the government's reaction to inflation. That's it. Okay, we are supposed to see FX. Okay, I also started with FX, but I could not complete it in last class. FX, yeah. We saw how it is like how the effects differ from person to person, right? How the inflation affects different kind of people in different ways, right? We saw that the borrowers are at gain, but lenders are at loss, right? Here we saw this first point, creditors and debtors, right? We saw how the debtors are at loss, and whereas the creditors are at loss, whereas the debtors are at gain, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Then the second point under effect is this bond and debenture holder.
Prevention.
Yeah, I explained what is bond, right? What is bond? Can you tell me? Bond.
Bond means bondholder
Yeah, bond holder. So bond is basically a paper. Okay, it's
paper,
like a promise given by government, or it
which
can.
makes the
Uh,
relationship connect, ma'am.
it's like on the basis of that promise, they take in money. They borrow money, right? And they give them a promise that we will pay back this money with so much and so much interest rate, and within this time, right? That is bond.
Yeah, ma'am.
So here we'll see how the this one affects inflation affects bond and debenture holders. Alright. So in an economy, there are some people who live on interest income. They suffer most. So all those who are living on interest income, they will suffer most. Bondholders earn fixed interest rate. So if your interest rate is flexible, then like if it is linked to the market, then you will suffer a loss. Otherwise, if it is fixed, if this fixed interest rate, then it's not a problem, right? These people suffer a reduction in real income when prices rise. In other words, the value of one's saving decline if the interest rate falls short of inflation rate. Similarly, beneficiaries from life insurance program are also hit badly by inflation since real value of savings deteriorate. So, what does it say? It says that bondholders earn fixed. Okay, so what in bond they give fixed interest rate, right? It is a fixed interest rate system. So here, these people suffer a reduction in real income when prices rise. So if the interest rate is fixed, and if the prices rise, if there's a problem of inflation, then the real income will decrease, right? In other words, the value of one's savings decline if the interest rate falls short of inflation rate. Similarly, beneficiaries from life insurance. Then again, this life insurance people, whoever is holding life insurance program, are also hit badly by inflation since real value of savings deteriorate, right? Then the third point is investors, how it affects the investors. So people who put their money in shares during inflation are expected to gain since the possibility of earning of business profit brightens.
Ma'am, during inflection means what, ma'am? The
Sorry,
people who put their money, the people who put their money in the shares during inflection means what, ma'am?
inflection or
Yes, ma'am.
inflation.
Inflation, sorry.
Inflation, they put in money. In share market is your question.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, ma'am.
what is your question? They are investing
And
where?
during inflation,
Huh? Where are they
the
investing people?
share market.
Share market. So what does it mean is your question, right? So
Yeah, ma'am.
inflation, naturally, investors, even there, they, you know, people who put their money in shares during, you know the meaning of share market,
Yeah, ma'am.
right? So during inflation are expected to gain since the possibility of earning of business profit brightens. So here, those people who are investing in shares during inflation. Inflation is what? You know this condition. What is inflation? Tell me.
No, ma'am. That's only my question, ma'am.
Huh?
That was only my question. The world
That was
inflation.
the question. Okay, inflation itself you didn't understand. See, you discussed this in depth. We saw the meaning. We saw the types of inflation. That is really, you need to do some research and come. I have explained all these things. Again, anyways, I'll be telling you this. And in fact, this is a very common topic. I have been telling since first semester, inflation. So inflation is nothing but rise in prices. If the
Yes, ma'am.
prices are increasing like this consistently over a period of time, then that condition situation is called as inflation, right?
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
So during this time, if the prices are rising, then these people who are investing in share market will gain since the possibility of earning of business profit brightens. Higher profit induces owners of firm to distribute profit among investors or shareholders. So if the profit is increasing of the business, then what happens? The owners of the business of firm, they distribute the profit, right? In share market, what happens? Those who have invested will get the profit of that, right? The share
Profit.
of their
Yeah, ma'am.
profit, right? From that firm. So the owners of firm, then when they're getting higher profit, they distribute this among all the investors or shareholders, right? So this is how they gain. So you must remember that investors are at gain, right? They are at profit. Then the salary, we will see now how it affects the salaried people and wage earners, right? Anyone earning a fixed income is damaged by inflation. So you must remember this. All those who are earning fixed income or fixed interest rate are damaged. They are at loss, okay, by inflation. It's because their income or interest is fixed. But if the prices are rising, then the real value of money, what happens? I've told you this. If the prices rise, then the value of money will decrease. This thing you should remember, right? If the prices rises, then the actual value of money will decrease. It is because, see, earlier with rupees 5, say you could buy one pen, right? But now you need to pay 10 rupees to buy that same pen. So the value has decreased, right? Value of money. Earlier, which is 5 rupees, you could buy one pen, but or say with rupees 10, in other words, with rupees 10 you could buy two pen, but now you get only one pen with rupees 10. So the actual value has decreased, right? Purchasing power has decreased, right? This is what we can say. With increase in prices, the purchasing power will reduce, and therefore we can say that the value of money will decrease. So what happens if their income or the interest rate is fixed? Then they are at loss, like during inflation, because the prices are rising and the real value will decrease, right? So sometimes unionized worker succeeds in, you can mute your, where where is it making sound? Okay, unionized workers succeed in raising wage rate of white collar workers as a compensation against price rise, but wage rate changes with a long time lag. In other words, a wage rate increases always lag behind price increases. Naturally, inflation results in a reduction in real purchasing power of fixed income earner. So sometimes we can see that due to this trade unions pressure, the wages of workers may increase, but when the wages of workers may increase when this inflation is there in the market, or when the prices are increasing, but there is a time lag. You must remember, you must observe this thing, that this increase in wages is not going with increase in inflation. So maybe this is running, the inflation is running fast, and this increase in wages is slow. There can be a time lag, right? And therefore, this does not, this increase in wages does not make any difference, and these wage earners, or yeah, wage earners are at loss, right? Because their real purchasing power of fixed income earner decreases. You can see this reduction in real purchasing power of fixed income earner, or wage earners, or salaried people, right? So you must remember this. These people, salaried people and wage earners, are at loss, right, during inflation. So on other hand, people earning flexible income. So those people who are earning flexible income may gain during inflation. So they may gain, right? The nominal income of such people outstrip the general price. As a result, real income of this income group increases. Okay. Then the next point: profit earners, speculators, and black marketers. So you have this profit earners. Now we'll discuss how it affects the inflation affects profit earners, speculators, and black marketers. So it is argued that profit earners gained from inflation. So it is said that the profit earners, they gain from inflation. Profit, so these people are at gain, you must remember, the profit earners. Profit tends to rise during inflation. Seeing inflation, businessmen raise the prices of their products. This results in a bigger profit. Profit margin, however, may not be high when the rate of inflation climbs to a high level. So, with the inflation, the profit of businessman is going up, right? So, businessmen are at gain during inflation, but you must remember that the profit will not be high. You see this. It may not be high when the rate of inflation climbs too high. So if the inflation rate is too high, then the profit will not be high. So I've discussed this point, right? When is inflation profitable and when is it not? Can you tell me the range, approximate range?
Ma'am, I can't hear.
When you can't hear me?
No, ma'am.
Seriously? Oh my god. Everything is fine here. There's no problem. Then maybe you need to refresh
You was asking something.
inflation. You can hear me now.
Yeah, ma'am.
So I asked, if tell me if inflation is always good or always bad.
Good, ma'am.
It's good for the economy.
No, no, ma'am.
No, so it's bad. Inflation ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾ ಇಲ್ವೋ economy ಗೆ? First you tell me if it's good or bad. Yes or no.
Inflation, I think inflation means the rise in the cost. It's good, ma'am. Rise in the cost
Raising the cost or prices.
prices.
So is that good for the economy or not?
Yeah, ma'am. It's good.
It's good. Prices rise is good. See, I told you if the price are rising, then value of money, purchasing power decrease ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So, do we consider that as good for the economy? If your purchasing power is increasing, I also gave you the example of pen. How you
Yeah.
could purchase with rupees 10, you could purchase 2 pen earlier, but with inflation, you will be able to purchase only 1 pen with rupees 10, right?
Uh,
So, what do you see now? Is it good or is it bad?
is it bad, ma'am? It is
It's
bad.
bad. So actually, it is neither good always nor bad always. It is both bad and good. So inflation up to a certain level is good for the economy. Okay, up to like 2-3% is good. This is what we can say. It's really good for the economy. It boosts up the growth, but inflation above this 3%, greater than 3% is not good, not so good. And above in fact 6% or 7% is really bad, we can say worst for the economy, right? This thing you should remember. Inflation is both good and bad, but it depends on the range or the percentage of inflation, up to what percentage it is. So till 2
Okay.
3% inflation is always good, but above 3% is bad, right?
Bad.
Hmm.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, now we'll see how speculators dealing in business are affected. What are speculators? Who are speculators? Actually, they tell us the value of future, right? Value of money of future. So they are predictors. Speculators are like predictors. Okay, they predict things. So speculators dealing in business in essential commodities usually stand to gain by inflation. Black marketers are also benefited by inflation. So they also gain. The speculators gain, then the black marketers also benefit, right? So black marketers will also benefit is what you should remember. Those black marketers. So thus there occurs a redistribution of income and wealth. It is said that rich becomes richer and poor becomes poorer during inflation.
Ma'am, black market means
Black market andre, you don't know what is black market?
no, no, no. Black
Like
marketers. I'm not getting.
um it is like it does not come into eyes of government, the market which does not comes into eyes of market. They are trading, the people in this market are trading, from by hiding away from the government. That is, they don't pay tax, right? Then like this, so they don't have proper papers and all of whatever they're
Uh,
doing, right? So
okay.
not white money, it is black money,
White and black
right?
money. Illegal.
Corruption, illegal money. So black marketers there, they also benefit by inflation, right? So thus we can say thus there occurs a redistribution of income and wealth, right? So we can say that it is said that the rich becomes richer and poor becomes poorer during inflation. You must remember this, that I said this earlier also. Rich are becoming
Yeah, ma'am.
richer, right? You can
Rich.
see how black marketers, the speculators, businessmen are gaining from the inflation, right? And I just
Yeah,
said,
ma'am.
you've also seen how these salaried people are losing from inflation, right? This is what we discussed. So we can say that rich people are becoming more rich, whereas the poor people are
Will
becoming
becoming
going more
poor.
poorer, right? During inflation. However, no such hard and fast generalization can be made. But uh, there's no hard and fast generalization. We cannot generalize this. There can be some rich people who can be at loss, but some poor people who can be at gain. There is some exception, is what we can say. ಗುಡ್ಡೆ ಸಾಬ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ, ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮ್ದು ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್
Okay,
ಮಾಡಿ.
madam.
Okay, so it is clear that someone wins and someone loses during inflation. So this is clear, right? There are some people who are gaining, whereas some people loss alliತಾರೆ. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? Yes, ಗುರುಚರ್. Who are the
Ma'am,
one? ಯಾರ್ಯಾರಿಗೆ
poor,
ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ?
poor.
Inflation ಅಲ್ಲಿ?
Rich will
Poor.
become rich and poor will become the more poor.
Okay, so among poorer, like, take any example. We just discuss some. So
Ma'am,
who are
that
at
salaried
loss?
paid people.
Salaried people,
Salaried
right?
is paid.
Right, right. So we saw salaried people are at loss, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
And we also saw this. The bond holders, ಅವರು loss ಅಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ,
Bondholders.
right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Then, yeah, that's it. And we saw who are at gain?
The rich people, ma'am.
Rich people. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು? ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಇಂದ?
Ma'am, black market or
ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟರ್, ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಯುಲೇಟರ್, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್,
speculators,
ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್?
businessmen,
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ
investors.
ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್
Yes, ma'am.
ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ರೈಟ್, ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಇಂದ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು. So these effects of inflation may persist if inflation is unanticipated. However, the redistributive burden of inflation on income and wealth are most likely to be minimal if inflation is anticipated by the people. So we also saw this, right? I told you earlier itself. Whatever we're discussing is under unanticipated inflation. So I told you inflation, under inflation, there are two types: anticipated and unanticipated.
Anticipated.
Mhm. So
This is under
anticipated,
inflation, ma'am.
yes, yes. So inflation is again of two types. We
Two
can
types:
classify it
anticipated and unanticipated.
unanticipated. So what happened? You're not well?
No, ma'am, no, ma'am. I'm okay, ma'am.
Okay, unanticipated. ಸೊ ಐ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಯು, ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಲ್ವಾ ಆಂಟಿಸಿಪೇಟೆಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಅನ್ಆಂಟಿಸಿಪೇಟೆಡ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ನಾವು ಅನ್ಆಂಟಿಸಿಪೇಟೆಡ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ, ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರೋದು. ದ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಇಷ್ಟವರೆಗೂ ಏನೇನು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಆಂಟಿಸಿಪೇಟೆಡ್ ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ಆಂಟಿಸಿಪೇಟೆಡ್. ಸಿ ಐ ಶೋ ಯು. Yeah, here we discuss effects of inflation. We discuss ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ anticipated and anticipated.
Ma'am, we
Hey,
can't see that, ma'am. It's blurred.
it's blur.
Yes, ma'am. Like collage, it's there, ma'am. Oh, now
What?
it's better.
Yeah. Maybe there's some problem with your network. Okay, now you can see I've also zoomed in.
Yeah, yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
Yes. So tell me, can you tell me the general English meaning of this anticipated word, ಮತ್ತೆ unanticipated? So,
And
unanticipated is something which cannot be predicted. Anticipated is that can be
which can be
predicted.
predicted.
Future which can be predicted is anticipated, whereas those which cannot be predicted is ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ನಾವು
Unanticipated.
ಪ್ರೆಡಿಕ್ಟ್, ನಾವೇನು ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಆಂಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಹೇಗ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರೆಡಿಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಆಂಟಿಸಿಪೇಟೆಡ್
Anticipated.
ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ವರ್ಡ್. These are simple English
Okay.
word and the meaning of it. So if inflation, see here you can see, if inflation is anticipated, people can adjust with new situation. Cost of inflation to the society will be smaller. So you can see this line. This is very important. So if inflation is anticipated, people can adjust. So if they can predict, if they can know the future value, then obviously they can make some adjustment ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ನ್ಯೂ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ adjustment, or we can make some our own preparation, right, to get adjusted with the new situation and the cost of inflation. and the burden of inflation on the society will be small, right? This is how we
Smaller.
can make it small. I can give you example here of anticipated and unanticipated. See, the current situation, COVID-19, coronavirus disaster, right? This is
Yeah.
what can be
Unanticipated.
and unanticipated, right? So this can be called as unanticipated,
Better.
whereas some other natural disaster like flood or say
Tsunami.
earthquake, so those can be grouped under anticipated, right? Earthquake can
Yeah,
be
ma'am.
predicted, right? You must all remember this. The scientist or meteorologist, they know how to predict earthquake. Many times they do predict it, right? They can see in that what is going to happen in future. They can predict that there is going to be an earthquake in some time like this. They can say about this, right? So that can be called as anticipated, and accordingly the administration or the government can make some preparation and the burden on the society will be small, right? They can evacuate people from those areas where the cyclone or the earthquake is going to happen. Cyclone are best predicted, right? Many times they are predicted. Sometimes it becomes unanticipated, but many times they are predicted, right? And they go for evacuation of people. Allinda evacuate ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಇದ್ದಾರಂತ. Mostly coastal areas ಅಲ್ಲೇ cyclone ಬರೋದಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸೈಕ್ಲೋನ್ ಆ ಥರ ಏನಾದರೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೆಡಿಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ದ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೋಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇವ್ಯಾಕ್ಯುಯೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದೋಸ್ ಏರಿಯಾ, ರೈಟ್? And the burden will be smaller, right? But this problem of COVID-19, corona disaster, is unanticipated. We never knew that these things are going to happen. This is a new virus. We don't know how is it going to react, right? So still we are into uncertainty, and this therefore this can be called as unanticipated. And you can see the loss to the society, right? It's huge, right? See, everyone is suffering from this corona disaster. There's a huge loss because we couldn't prepare ourselves for this, right? As we couldn't predict about this, right? So I hope this is clear now. I have discussed this in depth. Anticipated ಮತ್ತೆ
Yeah, ma'am.
unanticipated. Discuss ಮಾಡಿ. So all these effects, whatever we've seen till now, were under unanticipated. So you must remember this. Unanticipated inflation ಇದ್ರೆ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಸು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಲಾಸ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. But if it is anticipated, then the loss will be less. Okay, we were here. Thus, effects of inflation may persist if inflation is unanticipated. Okay, however, the redistributive burden of inflation on income and wealth are most likely to be minimal if inflation is anticipated. I just said this. The loss will be minimal, right? If it is anticipated. Okay, it's time up. You didn't tell me. You have next class. Which class do you have now?
Kannada, ma'am.
Okay, ಕನ್ನಡ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಯಿತು, 10:40 ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್. Okay, we'll wind up here. We'll see this in next class.
Okay.
This
And
effect on
notes related
production.
to this, you will send a link,
No,
ma'am.
no, no. Ma'am has said not to give notes. You will have to research, and get notes for yourself from internet. There are many notes available on internet, and also make note of all these points whichever I'm discussing in the class. Okay, do sit and write down these points. Don't just sit, see, and listen, but ಪೇಪರ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಪೆನ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಇದನ್ನ ಬರಿತಾ ಇರಿ,
Yeah, ma'am.
ಹೇಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ
Yeah,
ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್.
ma'am. I took a screenshot also ma'am, today.
Okay, anyhow you can do it, but you're not supposed to record also, right? You can just sit back and write down, right? This is what you can do, and search notes for yourself from the internet, right?
Yeah. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, then we'll wind up now. You have next class. We'll see these things in the next class, right?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.